Do you see the Delhi bomb blast of 10/11 as an intelligence failure or as an intelligence success?
It's both. There was a cell or a network which was being established and it slipped through the cracks. Somebody could collect 3,000 kilograms of ammonium nitrate and no alarm bells went off. That is also an administrative failure.
Jaish-e-Mohammed Babalpur attack. When you saw that the dome of that mosque had been bombed, there will be repercussions from that end.
If you're not expecting it, then I think you're living in a fool's paradise.
The intentions of the Pakistani state was also very clear, that they are not going to let go of this whole terrorism industry. Maybe they'll do it at smaller level so that there is no big retaliation, and maybe they'll say, okay, India, bring it on.
Did you interrogate Afzal Guru?
Yeah. He had also gone over to Pakistan. He had also done the training in Muzaffarabad.
Was he remorseful at all?
He was not remorseful. They wanted to have a siege situation. AKs and then hand grenades, rifle grenades. But we also recovered dry fruits.
They didn't trust the parliament canteen.
Doctors from Kashmir who have gone to study medicine in Dhaka.
Bangladesh will now become the hotbed of indoctrinating Indians.
We have allowed Kashmiri students to go and study in Pakistan. Can you believe this?
It's so easy to recruit people to get them radicalized in this country.
Initial reason is religion. They used to be shown pictures of atrocities done on the Muslims in India, atrocities done on Kashmiris in India, the demolition of the Babri Masjid. And then फिर तकरीर होता था पूरा.
It's like relentless.
Relentless. I mean, absolutely, they are at it.
This episode is powered by easemytrip.com. Namaste, Jaihind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the NI podcast with Smita Prakash. On 10th November 2025, a car exploded near the Red Fort, killing at least 12 people as of now and injuring more than 20 others. The plot was diabolical. The preliminary police findings indicated that the blast may have been a possible suicide attack. On 12th November, the Cabinet Committee on Security met in New Delhi and passed a resolution that said that the country has witnessed a heinous terror incident perpetrated by anti-national forces through a car explosion. This podcast has been recorded on the 15th of November, 5 days after the car explosion and unearthing of the plot, which as of now appears a transnational one. My guests today are Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow ORF, and Ashok Chand, former Delhi police officer who investigated cases like the 2001 Parliament attack, the Red Fort attack of 2000 and the Jama Masjid blast. Mr. Chand, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. Sushant, welcome again. Discussing the Delhi blast, it came as a shocker to all of us, and especially the new generation who've never seen this kind of an attack before, never seen Delhi experiencing these kind of bomb blasts and all. For them, it's a first time, especially the Gen Z guys, who are so used to having safe surroundings, don't realize, haven't grown up in a conflict situation. Some of us who have seen the Delhi blast, who have experienced, blasts going off in Sarojini Nagar, Connaught Place, Red Fort earlier, or the Parliament strike, these are in our memory. But for the younger generation, this was new. It's become this big web. And within 48 hours, the police sources had told the media about how complicated this or complex this whole thing was. Faridabad, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Kashmir, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Pakistan, and then supposedly mastermind in Turkey. Explain to me this mind-boggling, complex plot, and it was just 2 years, that's all. And then Operation Sindoor, the connection with that, this woman Sadia who was in touch with this women's wing of the Jaish. How do you see this?
So, Smita, maybe I'm a little skeptical. I will wait until all the investigations are completed and the investigating agencies have properly pieced together the whole picture. What you are asking me right now has appeared in news media. And what happens is, it's not a Mr. Ashok Chand who's talking authoritatively and feeding the media with what is happening. It is every two-bit person who has some knowledge, who is the source of some news person, is giving you some information, and that is why it now seems very, very confounding.
Yeah.
कि यार इसमें टर्की कहाँ से आ गया, what was the women cell, this, that. And a lot of times there are people who are clueless of what exactly the investigations are, because very often these investigations, and please correct me if I'm wrong, they're very tightly controlled. You know, it's not that raita phaila hua hai. So a lot of people, they want to show that they know what the hell's happening, and they, you know, try and piece together some information, and they say that some of it might be true. I'm not prejudging.
Right.
But I don't think we can link up all these straws in the wind until and unless we have a proper picture from an authoritative source, people who have actually investigated the thing. So one is that. See, Red Fort is also a symbol. But was he actually trying to attack Red Fort, or did he naturally gravitate to that area partly because it is so congested that you can get lost in that area, right? There's just so many people out there.
True.
Or was it because, and we know it, perhaps he can corroborate it if he is in the mood to do it, a lot of times, a lot of these characters have been found in that area, or they've had links in that area. And maybe this guy was going out there either to meet somebody or because this was a natural magnet for him. I don't know. But I can imagine what might have been happening to him, because I've studied some of this stuff, not necessarily in India, because we've not done enough studies, academic studies. But outside India, a number of people have done academic studies in studying the minds of terrorists, psychological profiling, all of that. I can imagine he is sitting in a car and imagining certain things, what he should do, what are his options. Now, whether he detonated the bomb himself, it exploded because
But these
it
are
was badly
the
handled, we don't know.
targets which we've heard again and again mentioning कि हम परचम फैलाएंगे रेड फोर्ट पे पार्लियामेंट
वो तो देखो ना-
significant no to attack
No,
these
because look,
installations.
if you have the Prime Minister of India making Independence Day speeches from the Red Fort, right, and you have the Republic Day parade going from India Gate up to Red Fort, it is a national symbol, right? Why do you think when this farmer movement took place, those Khalistani characters tried to climb the Red Fort?
Yeah.
Because that is the symbolism of Red Fort is there. That is, there is no government which sits in the Red Fort anymore.
Yeah.
Okay? That stopped about 200 years back.
Yeah.
And the last government which sat in the Red Fort, उसकी तो सरकार पालम तक नहीं
But you
चलती
keep
थी.
hearing this, right? All the dark web is all about लाल किला पे अपना परचम लहराएंगे.
Yeah, because that's a symbol. It's
It made,
nothing more
so
than that.
when the Red Fort, when this blast happened at Red Fort, it's like reflex action. We all knew that it's got something to do with Pakistan, even though nobody knew whether it was a terror plot, and we just knew it that this is it is connected.
It was a terror blast. Yeah,
and
you
sure
knew it,
enough,
yeah.
No,
right?
see, when the blast happened, the original, the first instinct was it could have been a CNG blast. But when you then start seeing CNG blast, just that vehicle catches fire. And if it's in a very congested area, maybe a couple of more vehicles will catch fire. You will not have debris strewn all over the place.
Hundreds
you will not
of
have,
feet
you won't have
away.
all of that.
Yeah.
So those telltale signs then suggested that there was some
explosive material
There was some
inside.
explosive material in the, and then of course within a matter of hours, the cops figured out, and the
Ashok,
information
isn't it
came out.
impossible to stop something like this? I mean, major metros. How do you police major metros and make them foolproof? Is it an intelligence failure that we didn't know? India didn't know that so much of explosive material. I mean, ammonium nitrate, again and again, everybody's talking. Just this year, 16,000 kilograms of ammonium nitrate was found in a truck in Birbhum in West Bengal. 16,000. This was 3,000 or less than that, 2,900. So, how is it? It's literally impossible to police, isn't it?
It is difficult to police a city like Delhi. I mean, to say that we can prevent, any incident from taking place. See, basically what happens is you have to act on intelligence. whether it is human intelligence or whether it is technical intelligence or any other form of intelligence. So your intelligence network definitely has to be very strong. But saying that, in spite of the fact that we have a strong intelligence network, I mean, and internal also, because I work very closely with the agencies, central agencies. We have a very strong network, but in spite of that, what happens is, see, you bust 10 modules. Like in my time also, we kept on busting modules. It was not that, we kept on apprehending terrorists. We kept on, and those were Pakistani terrorists.
Not these homegrown.
No, not these homegrown. Very rare. They were mainly Pakistani terrorists. Your Red Fort was Pakistani terrorism. Your Parliament attack was Pakistani terrorists. So, but fact is that you bust 10 modules, the 11th module slips through.
What happened in the Parliament attack? They were all Pakistanis?
They were all Pakistanis. They were from Jaish-e-Mohammed. And the 5 Pakistani terrorists that all were killed in the shootout there. One of them was supposed to be, I don't know, it was never confirmed later, but one of them was Muhammad. See, all were code names. Muhammad, Afzal Guru told us that Muhammad was basically Sunny alias Burger, who was in the IC-814 hijacking. But that could not be proved. And they had come well prepared. They wanted to have a siege situation, because we recovered not only what you call AKs, and then hand grenades, rifle grenades, and then explosives, but we also recovered dry fruits. So they had come for a long haul.
They didn't trust the Parliament canteen.
So in this aspect, I must put in two things here. One is the role of the watch and ward staff.
Yeah.
In those days, they did an excellent job. They closed all the gates. So the result was they couldn't go inside. If they would have been gone inside, they would have been total mayhem. Then we would be at the wrong foot. And second was the CRPF that was there deployed in the perimeter. They were battle hardened. They had just come from the valley. So they just took them on. In fact, when I reached, there were shots being fired. But they were battle hardened, and all 5 were shot dead. Yeah, then and there only.
You were part of the team which cracked the case of the Parliament attack, the Red Fort blast, the Jama Masjid blast, was it?
Yeah, that was
the Jama Masjid.
Indian Mujahideen.
Yeah, so these blasts which took place right in the middle of the city. Could you tell me a little bit, when you heard about the Delhi blast, did it bring back those memories and say that there are similarities in what you saw out there?
See, I must tell you, Delhi being the capital has always been the target of militant and terrorist organizations. Right from that time, from the Khalistani, terrorist organizations, then the Kashmiri terrorist organizations, and subsequently the homegrown and local terrorist organizations. So, there are definitely similarities between the blast, the recent blast at Red Fort, and other terrorist incidents that has happened in the city. The main important of any terror network or a terrorist organization is to, cause maximum damage and strike at a place where it brings you international recognition. People talk about it, and the aim is to create fear. And that they have done in this Red Fort blast also, and in the other terrorist attacks that have taken place in Delhi, like the Parliament attack, the attack on the Red Fort, and
why
numerous
Red Fort
blasts
again and
that
again.
have taken.
I want to know, is that, do you think that this guy, Umar, he specifically chose Red Fort? Because it seems he did recce of Connaught Place. He drove around, he didn't know what, and then he goes and does it in Red Fort. Is there anything significant for terror groups, who are originating in Pakistan about Red Fort? Why Red Fort?
See, I'll tell you basically, this Dr. Umar Nabi, if I'm not mistaken, that's his name. His terror module had more or less been busted by the police. So he was basically, I would say, on the run. Now the issue is whether the blast was accidental or it was actually a suicide blast. See, a profile of a suicide, terrorist, is that one of the factors is that when he's on the run, then he is not able to think properly, or he's rudderless. He has no direction. If you look at him also, the Dr. Umar Nabi, after the busting of of his arrest of his associates and busting of that module and the recovery of, large quantities of ammonium nitrate and other materials, he could have fled.
Yeah.
He didn't flee. He was around. And then if you look at the chart.
Do you think his trainers have indoctrinated him कि भागना नहीं है, you are not supposed to run, ऐसे कुछ है?
See, no, basically that's why, he may have been, being interacting with his, the handlers. Yeah. But decision is obviously yours.
Left, okay.
Is obviously yours. So if you look at him in the entire chart, entire course of his vehicular movement, he has visited different places.
Yeah.
And then he is, I don't know, I'm
for
talking
3 hours,
from, I'm talking
media
from
reports,
media
sure.
reports and all that. And he was for 3 hours sitting in that Suneri Masjid parking lot.
Yeah.
And then in the evening he moves.
Huh.
So by that time, in my opinion, I may be wrong because the investigators know better. They have all the facts.
So obviously the timing is important.
Yeah. So see, Red Fort, I don't know whether you've been to,
Yes.
Chandni Chowk, Red
Yes.
Fort and all that. I had been posted there earlier also. I was 3 years ACP Kotwali there, much before I moved to the terror outfit. Red Fort is always crowded. Always crowded.
What he didn't know probably is that Monday it's closed for tourists.
No, it's a question of not of tourists. It's
The road.
It is basically the casualties that you can, by the blast that will happen. And at the point of time, the Red Fort, red light or wherever it is always packed.
Correct.
So any blast at any area around Red Fort will cause you maximum casualty. And secondly, it's Red Fort is of national importance. चांदनी चौक, रेड फोर्ट, जिसको कहते हैं दिल्ली की जो जान है, जो पुरानी दिल्ली की जो जान है.
There, you knew that, you've always known that Red Fort is something that the Pakistan terror groups want kabza over.
Yeah, definitely. I was in the cell. I was DCP special cell, and at that time there was an attack on Red Fort, 22nd December 2000.
For viewers and listeners, sorry to interrupt, sir. I'll just read out it's an extract from a newspaper. On December 22nd, 2000, terrorists including Ashfaq had entered an area where the unit of 7 Rajputana Rifles of the Indian Army was stationed inside the Red Fort. 3 army personnel were killed in firing, after which the terrorists fled the spot by scaling the wall. The Delhi Police Special Cell Unit, which had probed the case, had arrested Ashfaq, a Pakistani national. Retired IPS officer Ashok Chand, who we have in our studio, who had supervised the probe, said, and I quote, "The Red Fort attack was an attack on the country's most important installations. Ashfaq was arrested from Ghazipur in East Delhi, where he was living with an Indian citizen. When we conducted raids at his hideout in Jamia Nagar, one of his accomplices was also shot dead in a shootout. He was posing as a Jammu resident who had a shawl business. He'd also got married in India." Mr. Chand said that the Red Fort attack was orchestrated by the Pak-based Lashkar-e-Taiba, and Ashfaq was one of the main planners of the attack, who conducted a recce, set up a sleeper cell to carry out the attack. The 3 militants, Abu Shad, Abu Bilal, Abu Haidar, who had also entered the monument, were killed in separate encounters with security forces. So go ahead. Tell us about this bust.
Yeah, basically, I think you stated whatever I was going to say. But, the Red Fort attack, as I told you, it was orchestrated by the Lashkar-e-Taiba. And the Ashfaq Ahmed, actual name is Muhammad Arif, Ashfaq Ahmed. He came came in beginning of 2000 and then set up a base here. He was a sleeper cell. He was asked by the Lashkar-e-Taiba to come and set up a base, and he had the support of local elements whom he later arrested also. Then he set up a computer center in Okhla area by the name of Knowledge Plus. And then to give a semblance of fact that he was like an Indian citizen and all, he married a local girl, and that through a matrimonial column. It was through a matrimonial column, and the money that he used to get was through Hawala transactions. Those days, Hawala used to be massive. All the money that, and in fact, he was planning to buy a flat also.
There was no Aadhaar, there was nothing.
No, he had driving license.
Driving license.
Yeah, he had driving license and he had ration card.
Oh, okay. Those days you could get.
Yeah, you could get a driving license and a ration card. He had all the requisites proclaim himself
So
an Indian citizen.
when you saw him, how did you catch him? What did you do?
See, basically what happened after the incident, these guys fled. I must tell you this. While they entered, they had recceived the Red Fort. At that point of time, light and sound used to go on. But the checking was not that strict. So what they did basically was, there were 6 of them. Out of the 2 of them were supposed to be Fidain.
Okay.
Yeah, Abu Shahad and Abu Shamal, if I'm not mistaken. And they were supposed to be Fidain. So after the light and sound show was over, 2 of them, they carried the AK-47s inside the jackets. It was winter, so they had put on the jackets. 2 AK-47s, both the Fidains had carried it inside the jacket, and since there was no checking, they could, get inside. And then they attacked the army camp there, Rajputana Rifles. 3 of the, army men were killed. And then subsequently they scaled, the back wall of, if you have seen the Red Fort.
Red Fort.
Yeah, they used ropes, came down, and while fleeing, one of their, wallets fell down.
Oh.
Yeah. So after the incident took place and all that, and we searched the area, then we found that wallet, and that gave us the clue.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a telephone number in that, and subsequently after analysis and use of the technology and all that, and then we could identify this guy, Muhammad Arif of Ashok Ahmed.
Okay.
Then we picked him up.
He's a Pakistani national.
Yeah, Pakistani.
Where did you pick him up from?
Gazipur.
Okay. He didn't leave the country. He still stayed.
No, he was there. You see, basically the entire investigation was over within 3-4 days. I think maximum, 5-6 days.
It was so easy to get him.
See, I don't think it was easy to get him. If you put it that way now, it seems very easy.
Okay.
But me and my team, I think we didn't sleep. For 72 hours, we were working continuously. And of course, we had the support of the intelligence agencies.
Okay.
Yeah. We worked...
but you knew immediately it's an LET plot?
We knew it was an LET plot because after committing this incident, they phoned up the BBC.
Oh.
BBC Delhi or BBC JNK. I'm not sure exactly which one. And that's why we came to know it was an LET plot. But we didn't know who were the perpetrators.
Okay.
So that was a clue that gave us. And then obviously with analysis and our use of technology and all that.
So you picked him up from Gazipur?
We picked him up from Gazipur.
What was he doing? He was hiding?
Yeah, he was there in the house. It's easy now to tell it, but we kept it house under surveillance. And then when you knew that he was there.
You stormed in?
Yeah. We stormed in and picked him up. Subsequent to his interrogation, there was a...
You interrogated him?
Yeah, obviously. These cases, me and my team...
He would have interrogated him.
Me and my team. Subsequently, after the interrogation, we came to know that there was another... one of the Fidains who was involved in the attack was in Batla House. I'm talking about that. That's a separate Batla House. This is a separate Batla House.
Okay.
This was the 2000 year. So then we raided the place. There was a shootout and he was shot dead.
Okay.
Yeah. So
but this guy was in custody.
This guy was in custody.
He's still in custody.
He is in custody. He's been sentenced to be hanged.
But and I think recently the president rejected his plea.
Yeah, but let's wait and see how it goes.
Yeah, you see, this is what it is. He's sitting in jail for the past 20 years.
I can name many others who are sitting in jail for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And the government, for one reason or another, hasn't had the
to go or
testicular fortitude to carry out the...
spoken in true Sushant.
No, but which is a fact. There are Khalistani terrorists, people who have been involved in suicide bombings, killing of chief ministers, all kinds of heinous activity. And they are now becoming, some kind of martyrs to the cause, and the government is just soft peddling the whole thing.
Did you interrogate Afzal Guru?
Yeah. I interrogated. We arrested Afzal Guru, we arrested Shaukat, we arrested the Delhi University professor who was later on, released. So
What did he say?
Who?
Afzal Guru.
Afzal Guru was basically a Pak trained militant. If you remember in the 80s, late 80s, half of the valley had gone to Pakistan to get trained. In fact, it's a very funny anecdote. We used to say that, look, you go to Ajatpur Mandi, any third person you pick up will be a Pak trained militant. Because more or less,
Azadpur Mandi is Delhi.
हाँ आजाद जैसे ना आपको अगर ये जो होता है जो fruits and all, they all come to Ajatpur Mandi those days. So and all the fruits, apple and all that used to come by truck and all that. So if you go, those days, I'm not talking about now. So you used to say that you go there, interrogate the people who are coming from the valley to...
Have been to Pakistan, got trained and come.
Yeah. More or less all of them are got... every third person was a Pak trained militant. We used to call them PTM.
So when he was to talk to you, Afzal Guru, was he remorseful at all? No.
No, he was not remorseful. I must tell very plainly, he was not remorseful, but he narrated the facts.
He said, "Zaruri hai karna."
He says that he was motivated. Everybody says he was motivated. He had also gone over to Pakistan. He had also done the training in Muzaffarabad. He had come back. He was from that time JKLF. He was there in JKLF. Then subsequently he did some odd jobs here and there. He came to Delhi. He was working as a commission agent and all that. And then he met a person by the name of Tariq in Tral area. And he says he motivated me to join Jaish-e-Mohammed. In fact, he says the camp of Jaish-e-Mohammed those days was in you go to Pahalgam. From Pahalgam you go to Adu or some other place. From there you walk, you go by horseback, and then you go and you walk for around 6-7 hours. Then you reach the camp in the jungle area in India. In India, where the Ghazi Baba was there. So he met Ghazi Baba a number of times, and then it was decided. See, Jaish-e-Mohammed is a very potent militant organization, I must tell you that. Lashkar, is also a very, dangerous militant organization, but Jaish-e-Mohammed is...
Brutal.
Yeah, brutal, far above.
And they want mass killings, Jaish-e-Mohammed.
Yeah, they are very well planned. They plan very well. Like if you remember, before the parliament attacked, they had attacked the J&K assembly also. They tried to attack the J&K assembly where there was a major bomb blast and all that.
Yeah, Farooq Abdullah was there, I think, when it happened.
So they are very well organized. Here also when they came here, Muhammad Afzal came, he set up 3 hideouts, one in Christian colony, one and 2 in Mukherjee Nagar area, Indira Vihar and another area. And then slowly all of them came, the Pakistanis. They came, but those days they came by train. And hold all those days people used to carry hold all.
Yeah.
I don't know whether...
Yes. It's a bedding which is for youngsters who don't know
when we travelled also we used to carry hold all. So they got all the weapons inside the hold all. And then they came here. And then they wrecked the area. They not only wrecked Parliament House, they wrecked also this American embassy, and they wrecked the Delhi Delhi government that secretariat building also. But then it was decided that they will, take...
What is the mindset of people like that? Like when you interrogate them, do you find them hardened, that they come to die while they kill?
You see, जो Pakistani से जो आते हैं ना, in the sense these Pakistani, they are fidains.
They
are willing to
die.
Otherwise you come all the way to India for what? They are willing to die.
But Afzal Guru was
not
Kashmiri.
He was a Kashmiri. He was basically
Indian Kashmiri.
Yeah, he didn't want to die. You see, he never thought they'll get caught. Issue is, none of them think that they will get caught. When you are doing these terror activities, you feel that you are insulated. Nobody can catch me and all that. Who knows I am doing what I am doing. So he never thought he'll get caught. But in the parliament attack also, he got the clues. And as usual, we always work with the central intelligence agencies, and then we are able to nab Mr. Gilani first, and then
in this.
Afzal Guru, and then after that Muhammad Afzal and this Shaukat Hussain Guru, they had fled.
Huh.
So we got them from the valley.
This whole, what Mr. Chand has told us about this whole intel operation is so important. Do you see the Delhi bomb blast of 10/11 as an intelligence failure or as an intelligence success?
See, it's both. It's a failure in the sense that there was a cell or a network which was being established, and it slipped through the cracks. Now, very clearly that happened. The fact that somebody could collect 3,000 kilograms of ammonium nitrate and no alarm bells went off, that is also an administrative failure. Ammonium nitrate is a controlled substance. You just can't sell it. If you go tomorrow and buy it, it's not. अब यहाँ पर तो controlled drugs भी होती हैं जो बिक जाती हैं. So,
Sure.
but the thing is, a controlled drug will harm an individual. Selling controlled substances like this, which are potential explosives, can be used for terrorism and will kill hundreds of people or potentially hundreds of people. So shopkeepers need to be sensitized about it. And frankly, if the shopkeepers have not followed the law, then I think they really need to be taken to task.
Okay, if I am to play the devil's advocate, I'm a shopkeeper in Faridabad and I'm stocking under, keeping all the security parameters in mind, I'm stocking ammonium nitrate. एक फार्मर आता है 2 किलो लेके जाता है, दूसरा फार्मर आता है अगले दिन उसी दिन 2 किलो लेके जाता है. 10 people come and take 5 kilos, 10 kilos, 8 kilos because it's needed for agriculture. It's a fertilizer.
So here is how it works, which is where the intelligence guys come in. Now, when this information is being collected, there has to be a system that is being fed into the system. And that is where you have to start making sense. Okay, why is there so much of offtake of this thing? It's unnatural. For the last 4 years, there was only so much fertilizer.
Okay.
So, then that is where analysis comes in. That is where, which is why Mr. Chand is saying that, the intelligence agencies work very well, and I have no reason to doubt that. But from what I have also heard, they are severely staffed for resources. They need to be much more, in terms of personnel, they need more people. I don't know, sir, correct me if I'm wrong, because I had heard this. I have no other way of verifying it. There was a time when our counterintelligence department in the IB had 25 people.
For a population
right?
of...
About IB, I cannot say. I cannot comment.
But
that's
short-staffed. Okay.
So he's a good old conservative,
We'll not talk about that
civil
department.
servant. Which is fair enough.
All
which
right.
is fair enough. But the point is, I personally feel, given the kind of challenges we face, the kind of threats we face, you really need to beef up your domestic as well as external
and
intelligence.
more coordination between the states,
Absolutely,
I would guess,
absolutely.
right?
I think a lot has changed from the past, but I think you can still improve. Which is why I say that one was the administrative failure, that nobody was maintaining those registers, and now suddenly everybody is saying, but I didn't know. I didn't know is not an excuse, right? And then even if these guys are sharing that information, somebody needs to start making some sense out of it. To that extent, and to the extent that there were no alarm bells ringing about this particular network, and they were able to operate below the radar, is a kind of an intelligence failure.
Sushant,
not failure.
Alarm bells should have rung immediately for Haryana when they realized that one university has 40 doctors from Kashmir in one place.
So that university should have never come up in the first place.
हाँ, अब पता लग रहा है कि उनका वो
and I can assure you there will be at least another 100 universities
which are similar,
which should have never come up in the first place. But then you come to the intelligence success part and good policing.
And here when I'm saying Kashmiris, I don't mean to stigmatize Kashmiris.
Of course.
Because you see what Umar Abdullah and Mehbooba Mufti are saying, that all Kashmiris are not terrorists. So don't say, don't do this, because now we will start doubting.
Umar Abdullah is saying the right thing.
Correct.
Mehbooba Mufti is being disingenuous, and that is as simple as that. Now what Umar Abdullah is saying, why I agree with Umar Abdullah, look, you have the Jammu and Kashmir police, predominantly Muslims. Right, from the valley. They have been in the vanguard of this fight against terrorism. You cannot function. They are your eyes and ears. The kind of sacrifices they made are second to none. So when you start stigmatizing everybody, I don't think, you are either being patriotic or being fair to
No,
people.
Sushant, what I'm
So
saying
to
is
that
that
extent,
जो
I
मैंने
agree
अभी
with.
जैसे कहा that there are 40 Kashmiri doctors in a hospital and a university in a remote Faridabad town in Haryana. Should the local Khabri network of Faridabad have kept them in focus a little bit?
Okay, so-
in one way, it is stigmatizing.
No,
कि ये कश्मीरी
no,
है
no.
तो इनको
Okay,
क्यों? But I would think even if there are 40 Bengali or 40 Bihari doctors just in one university, you'd think that is there some connection? Why?
नहीं यार देखो, this is an ex post facto जो आप सोच रही हैं. So look, I'll say two things. One is on the intelligence success and good policing, that you catch hold of some. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
That certain posters had come up. There was a local police officer who said, "Yeah, this is happening after so much time. Let's investigate." And then you start unraveling the whole thing, and then everybody comes together, and the whole network starts unraveling, which is why it was a success. This bomb blast, in a sense, was an aberration. The success was that you seized everything. You ensured that plot never could go through. So that was it's a resounding success. And I think kudos to everybody who was involved in that. Now you come to the other thing of the Khabri network. Again, I don't know how much he will talk. That's the problem with these guys, These guys come and they don't talk. And this is my problem with Mr. Vikram Sood. I've known him for 25 years. He doesn't open his mouth. So, that's, I don't like him because of that.
Because there are enemies also watching,
No,
right?
Yeah, I know. But, for us...
Curiosity.
हुआ क्या था exactly? What happened behind the scenes? But look, so here is the point. And this is a question, sir, please, to the extent you can answer this. See, I have often asked this question. And again, I'm not stigmatizing a community or anything. You could take it for any community.
Sure.
In Assam, you could take it, for people who might be Ulfa inclined. In Punjab, you could take it for the Khalistani lot. In rest of India, if you're looking at the Islamist networks or Islamist terrorism, jihadi terrorism, then you have to look at the Muslim community. And if there is some Hindu terrorist, by all means, go and check that. But the question which I ask is, what are the conversations which are taking place in a particular society, in a particular area? So, for example, if I'm talking about a university, there are kids, for example, in Aligarh Muslim University or Jamia Millia. Again, before people start throwing stones at you and me and him, that you are stigmatizing by naming certain universities, you can talk about JNU for all I care.
Yeah.
Right? And Delhi University, which is my alma mater. But my point is that when students in these places are sitting, what are the conversations? When, say, 15 Muslim students are sitting in a room and they're talking about politics, about geopolitics, about strategy, about economics, what are they talking? What is triggering them? Do we know those conversations? Do we know how the brains are functioning in a madrasa or in a particular locality? What are people talking about? That will give you an idea of what might be happening in a particular place. And I know it's much easier for me to say this, but it's much more difficult when you have to start implementing it at the practical level. But until and unless you know this, you're always going to be surprised. How come so many doctors have got involved? Like the entire media is labeling this white-collared crime. What the hell do you mean by that? What was Shami Witness? You remember that guy who was doing all the propaganda for the ISIS techie from Bangalore who was caught?
Engineer. Yeah.
Working in Google or something like that, some fancy bloody company.
So it's not new, you're saying?
So, look, the very poor people don't get involved in terrorism. They don't have the time. They don't have the luxury to get involved in terrorism. The people who get involved in terrorism are people with some means.
The earlier thing was
there is some education.
Gurbat itni hai, so
that's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard. That poverty leads to terrorism. Poverty does not lead to terrorism. Was Osama bin Laden poor?
No.
Was Ayman al-Zawahiri poor? Was this guy Umar Saeed Sheikh of Kandahar, jisko choda tha, was he poor?
Yeah.
So this poverty business is utter nonsense, right? All of these excuses which are given is utter bullshit. These are covering fire. These are typical leftist way of looking at things. Ke ji, they were very poor, so they had no choice, so they took to guns. When Khalistani terrorism happened, was Punjab poor at that time?
No.
Wasn't Punjab the richest state in India? Was Kashmir poor when Kashmiri terrorism happened? Kashmiri lives had improved by leaps and bounds. So terrorism is not about poverty, it's not about economic factors. It has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Again, I'm quoting from media because we are only getting media reports right now. Dr. Shaheen Shahid, who was tasked with creating Jaish-e-Mohammed's women terror wing, Jamaat-ul-Momid. She's supposed to have contacted the Delhi blast plotter Dr. Shaheen was in touch with this Sadia Azhar and Afira Bibi. Now, who are these people? Afira Bibi's husband Umar Farooq was the mastermind of the 2019 Pulwama attack. Sadia Azhar's husband Yusuf Azhar was the brain behind the 1999 Kandahar hijack. Now, they get in touch with this woman who's a doctor in UP. That lady supposedly leads a normal life. She's with her husband, leads a normal life, has 2 children. She dumps her husband. She never used to wear hijab or anything like that. She used to be part of, she was employed in a government hospital also. She leaves her husband, divorces him, leaves the children with the husband, disappears for some time. She was living in the same gully as her brothers. Her brothers say we don't know anything about her. She was living in the same area, locality, kuch nahi pata, she disappears, lands up, and then her ex-husband says she wanted to go to Australia and was going to call us, hum log Australia jana chahte the. Very loose story, probably will be interrogated by the police and we'll get to know later kya hai. This is what he has said in media interviews. And then she gets in touch supposedly through the dark web and gets recruited to do this. You've interrogated so many of these people, these what Chidambaram calls homegrown terrorism. I don't like the word grown because it seems as if some state intelligence organizations are growing them. These are people who are radicalized in some way, either self or through whatever networks. Do you think that it's so easy to recruit people to get them radicalized in this country? Was it so easy to get women radicalized also? One would think that it's not easy to just get a woman to leave her job, leave her children.
See, radicalization, the initial reason is religion. I think we all have to accept that. Muslim gets radicalized because of the religion. But most important thing is, once you get radicalized, how do you sustain yourself? That is terrorism. That is money. Money. Both go together. Once you are radicalized, then the money factor comes into play, and money sustains
How is
terrorism.
the money coming into these people?
Money earlier on, when we used to investigate, it used to come through Hawala channels.
Hawala
channels. Most of the money used to come through Hawala channel, and sometimes it came through Western Union and some such agencies.
Okay.
Nowadays, I think it comes through charities and other
NGO networks.
But
and all that.
Charities were involved even then, no?
We actually, when we busted these gangs and all that, terror modules and all that, they mainly through Hawala. They were all conducting.
Because otherwise there were big charities in the Middle East and in Pakistan and other places which used to, but maybe it was coming through Hawala
from those charities.
Do the families never get to know when this happens?
No, that is not. They get to know.
They know.
Yeah, definitely they know. In fact, all of us are talking about a lady, who has been, doctor has been radicalized and all that. Prior to that, although, I would name, if you know Aisha Indrawi.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Duktarane Millat.
Yeah, Duktarane Millat.
So she was also radicalized.
Yeah.
But
they threw acid on people who went to beauty parlors.
But she not, I would say cannot, there was no, evidence to prove that she was involved in terrorism, but she was a total separatist. and she has been arrested a number of times. So it's nothing new that women are involved in these type of activities.
But that lady, Dukhtarane Millat, Asya Andrabi, was about Azadi for Kashmir. What did this lady sitting in Lucknow want?
See, as I told you,
She doesn't want UP ke liye Azadi.
No. As I told you, the radicalization has taken place in whatever manner, through through online or through going to the mosque or all that. See, once your mind is radicalized, then what happens basically is, I don't know, about the lady I cannot say, then you are, these people, whom we had interrogated earlier, the terrorists, they used to be shown pictures of atrocities. Atrocities done on the Muslims in India, atrocities done on Kashmiris in India, the demolition of the Babri Masjid. And then फिर तकरीर होता था पूरा. Sermons and everything. So your mind was totally I would say the word polluted. Totally
and it's
polluted.
not a one-off thing. It's like relentless.
Relentless. Absolutely, they're at it. And then once your mind gets diverted and you are moving towards that end, and then the money factor comes in. You get paid for doing, like as I told this Ashok Chand, he came here, set up all the money used to come from Pakistan. So money, easy money coming in.
So the neighbors, the family, they don't suspect कि कुछ हो रहा है, because most people who have been interviewed in the past week all say वो तो बिल्कुल normal था. The brothers and sisters, वो तो पढ़ाकू था, पढ़ता था सारा time.
It is not possible. Whatever they say, they may be telling this to save themselves. But what happens is, you have seen the person earlier and you have seen the behavior after he or she has been radicalized. So it's a different set of behavior comes in.
But sometimes these are very subtle changes.
I don't think they are subtle changes.
They're not subtle.
They are not subtle changes.
Okay.
So let's take the case, for example, of many of the ISK guys who've been arrested in India. After they've been arrested, people will tell you, you know what, suddenly he had changed. He used to go to the mosque very often. He used to berate us when we used to watch television. He did not want to hear music. Now, these are red flags, right? But listen, if it's your kid, what are you going to do? Go to him, the cop, and say, listen, I think my son's getting radicalized. There have been some cases where parents have actually done that.
Yeah.
But in most of the cases, you will say, I'll take him to the local Maulvi to tell him that he's going on the wrong path. Now, you don't know if that Maulvi is also a smart dude or he's a dumb ass who will probably buttress the radicalism.
So most mothers of these OGWs or whatever say वो spiritual path पे चला गया. There are words to use. I don't want to use that word, but the word basically translate to वो spiritual path पे चला गया. So it doesn't sound negative. But
listen, what do you expect the family to do?
Yeah.
Do you expect them to go to the local law enforcement? In many cases, the local law enforcement will not be sensitive to it. So,
because
very often,
radicalization is not an offense. In the sense that unless a violent act has not been committed, it's
but
not
even
an
otherwise, even otherwise. So, supposing I am showing, signs of being radicalized. You notice it, you go to him. Now, it depends on what kind of a person he is. If he is one of those more sensitive guys who know how this whole thing is working, he might say, okay, let me talk to this boy, let me take him inside, let me try some, put him through some programs to de-radicalize him. If he is, on the other hand, he is one of those, this guy is going to become a terrorist, let me beat the shit out of him. Then you will say, I don't know what he's going to do. So you will say, I hope this boy is just becoming spiritual, taking to the path of religion and, getting into some otherworldly nonsense. Because I consider all otherworldly stuff is nonsense. Because I don't know if there is any other world anyways. So my point is that in many cases, people will tend to keep quiet. And once the person is caught or found out or is found to be involved in something, denial is the natural defense system.
True.
So they'll defend themselves. What do you expect the guy to say? I knew my wife is becoming a radical. Then the cops will ask him, why didn't you inform us?
Yeah. You mentioned the Babri demolition that happened. That spawned a number of terror cells, sleeper cells, attacks which were supposed to be revenge for the
Revenge
1990.
for the demolition, yeah.
When you saw the visuals of Operation Sindoor and the bombing of the headquarters there, where they had in front there was the mosque and piche there was they were doing all the activities out there. When you saw that the dome of that mosque had been bombed, did you sense at that moment that there will be repercussions from that end?
See, that was expected. If you're not expecting it, then I think you're living in a fool's paradise. You have gone and attacked Jaish-e-Mohammed. And you must, as I told you earlier also, that Jaish-e-Mohammed is a very, a potent militant organization. So that the action was would have come. But I don't think the present module that has been busted. I think, as far as I know from media reports, it has been going on for quite some time, much before Operation Sindoor. So that their radicalization must have been earlier itself. See, what happened basically is the hinterland. We call this, apart from the valley, everything else is the hinterland. Hinterland has not been, affected for quite some time. So the aim was basically to sort of target the hinterland. Last, I think, bomb blasts we had was, 2010, 11, 12, something like that. Quite some, about a decade back. So main aim was to target the hinterland. And ammonium nitrate, ammonium nitrate has been the explosive material much in demand by all the terrorists. And it is right from the time of Parliament attack. Much before that, ammonium nitrate has been used. In fact, as far as I remember, because of our efforts and all that, 2012 law came into existence, where if you are selling ammonium nitrate, you have to maintain the data.
Yeah,
whom you are selling, whom you are selling. That is lack of supervision. And that data had to be submitted to, I think, the administration, if I'm not mistaken.
So even when that truck in Birbhum was found, the sacks, usme jo label tha, that had all been mitowed. So you can't.
You can't do. You can't see it. But the facts is data. To aap check to karo na. There has to be
कि कहाँ से निकला है?
End of the day.
And was it shared with other states?
So
होता नहीं है.
That's what. There's no central.
Here is where the administrative failure comes. You've passed the law. There would be some nodal person, for example, in Faridabad, who has to ensure that this data is shared with him,
properly maintained.
What was he doing? Scratching his ass? Why isn't he being asked? What the were you doing?
Yeah.
Why were you not keeping a check on it?
And also, it's possible it was bought in some other state and then transported, no?
No matter what.
No matter what. If I am selling ammonium nitrate, I have to maintain the data and I have to share the data. Or somebody has to come and check whether the data is being maintained properly or not. So definitely, I would say that that aspect was lacking. It's not lacking in Faridabad, it's lacking everywhere else.
This is a problem in every single department of government.
Let me come back to the question which I was asking Mr. Chand about this, that when we attacked, it was Bawalpur, Jaish-e-Mohammed Bawalpur was attacked. So when you saw that, did you think that, back broken, or did you realize that it's a matter of time before these guys do something to avenge that mosque being shattered?
No, I think it was very clear if you see the kind of statements that the Lashkar characters and the Jaish fellows have been making, and there are videos, they have been going around all kinds of places, making speeches, blood-curdling speeches. It was very clear that they were going to try and do something. The question was, it is one thing to be threatening revenge, and quite another do they have the kind of capacity and capability that they'll be able to do it? Number one. Number two, what will be the role of the Pakistani state? Because these guys cannot function without the Pakistani state. So quite clearly, I think the intentions of the Pakistani state was also very clear. that they are not going to let go of this whole terrorism industry which has started in that country, and they will continue to doing it. Now, maybe they'll do it at smaller levels so that there is no big retaliation, and maybe they'll say, okay, India, bring it on. Okay, we don't know. Like I've been telling some people, if you are a Pakistani and you have bought all the bullshit which Asim Munir and that his chapadasi Shahbaz Sharif have been trying to sell people, what is the story they are giving? That we have beaten India, right? None of them talk about the kind of beating they got, but we have beaten India. We have won the war. I don't know which war it was, but they've supposedly won a war. America is at our back. The Chinese are at our back, of course. The Turks are backing us
Azerbaijan,
completely.
yes, all of them.
And now even the Arab world, which had kind of pulled away from us, is backing us. So we can take on India. Because if Saudi Arabia has signed a deal with us, a mutual defense agreement, India cannot attack us anymore because then Saudis will jump in. This is the Pakistani narrative. So add this to the kind of calls which the terrorists have been making. So it was, I don't think anybody in the government of India or in the security services would have thought that the Pakistanis are not going to do anything. I think that expectation would always be there.
So this is an asymmetrical attack on India, which is a continuation of retaliation to Operation Sindoor?
Look, again, in this particular case, I think I'll still wait till the investigations are complete, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Mr. Chand pointed this out. This cell does not emerge after Sindoor. This cell has been in operation for about at least 3 or 4, 2 years, maybe even longer.
Media
right?
reports,
right? So this cell has been there long standing, and I think this cell was planning something big. Now, were they planning something big because the Pakistanis had put them to it, or were these guys who were radicalized in a different environment, maybe having some Pakistani link? Because if again,
and it's got nothing to do with the 27th Amendment and General Munir continuing.
No.
This is nothing to do with all that. The attack was not timed.
Okay, this is the problem. When you start talking to me about Pakistan, then I can't stop. But on the 27th Amendment, just one sentence. What has the 27th Amendment done?
Given him immunity, that's
Nothing.
all.
A general in Pakistan always has immunity. The only person it has given immunity is to that crook, Asif Zardari. Okay. Musharraf could not be prosecuted.
Dubai chala gaya tha na.
कोई नहीं कर सकता, आपको prosecute नहीं कर सकते. But the point is not that. 27th Amendment has only made official what was already there.
Look, if Imran Khan comes back into politics, he could do some stuff to Munir. So,
when Imran comes back, we'll talk about it.
Achha, theek hai.
That is what you call
we'll talk about what he hai when it's like,
he's not going to be permanently
can I make a political statement on it? It's like saying Rahul Gandhi जब Prime Minister बनेगा तब ये होगा. तो मतलब ठीक है, जब वो बनेगा तब की तब देखेंगे. So that's not the point. So I would imagine that, look, we have been in a bit of denial within India. There is a certain amount of radicalization which is also taking place in India. Some of it, and a lot of it, is probably inspired by terror groups outside India. International jihadist groups, the kind of propaganda which is happening on the internet, social media, all kinds of other chat rooms, all kinds of other things. All of that has been happening. But in at least at the political level, there has been a level of denial that there is radicalization taking place within Indian society, among Indian Muslims, and you see more of it among the educated and the half-educated. Because they are the ones who are consuming the kind of trashy videos that you and I would not even look at. But they are consuming it, right? So, I don't know, again, because the investigations are still ongoing. What were the links these guys had with the foreign fellows? Was there
a
Pakistani hand?
Sushant, it's become so big now. I mean, you were saying आप लोग आजादपुर मंडी में जाते थे और वहाँ पे you would see that these guys are mostly have all of them gone or some of them have gone to Pakistan, got trained. Now they don't even need to go across. It seems like they're getting on Telegram, on any other.
There are a lot of apps now which we cannot monitor also. And these apps are being used. Why apps? Even the what do you call? Websites and all that are being used for these type of activities.
Yeah.
And
So it's literally Bhagwan Bharose. How is one supposed to
so
police?
it's not. I would say it's not Bhagwan Bharose. You see, you have worked with.
ऐसी भी अंधेर नगरी नहीं है.
If you have worked with
To me, it
intelligence
seems like we're
agencies,
sitting ducks.
I mean, things are monitored. It's not that everything is unmonitored. There is monitoring. There is monitoring of the, channels and communications and everything. So, how far it is successful and how far we get information, or whether he is using that channel which we are intercepting, or which we have kept under observation or not. So that is issue. But they are being monitored. Even at my time also we used to monitor. Now also they are being monitored.
Look, we're talking about doctors, engineers. You would think that these are people who are educated and have common sense, that they would know that they could be
That is your
used.
presumption.
I
That's what I'm
just
asking.
say that basically, as I told you, motivation is religion. You must understand that, irrespective of whether he is a doctor or a software specialist. See, it's the first time these white-collared people have come inside. It's a very wrong denomination. Earlier on also we have had white-collared people like engineers and being a part of the terror modules. And I agree with him totally that it is basically the educated and the half-educated who are drawn towards these terrorist models, because the poorer sections of society, they're busy earning their livelihood. They have no time for these activities. It is these people who I wouldn't use the class here, but you can have lower middle class. These are the
यार communist कौन बनता था? Did you ever see a Mazdoor who was communist? Because the Mazdoor had to do Mazduri, yaar. It was the communist was always either really elite champagne liberal, right? He became a communist, right? Somebody who was roaming around in a Merc but was preaching communism, or the middle class type, It's the same thing with a terrorist.
But a doctor, a physician, it's a little shocking. They take the oath to cure people, and for
What
them
about Ayman al-Zawahiri?
was yes. But
I
you
can
would
show
think,
many others who were like that.
I don't know, an Indian doctor. I would
Yeah,
think,
look, this is your class bias. Okay, I'm accusing you of a class bias.
Okay.
That, look, these were people like us, educated.
They are, no.
University going, etc., etc. Because you are not understanding what's happening in their brains. When that Mentos moment comes in their brain and the switch suddenly flips, you have no idea which way they're going to go. Which is why, this nonsense which is always said, we should educate people that terrorism is a very bad thing. You think people don't know terrorism is a bad thing? But they don't think they're doing terrorism. What these guys think is that they are serving a larger religious cause, the cause of the community. They don't understand they're damaging the community. That they are creating a kind of a resentment against the community, which will, normal, ordinary people who are doctors among the Muslim community will also now be tarred by a certain brush. These assholes don't think like that. They think that they are doing this for the greatness of the cause, for the community, for Allah, etc., etc., which is nonsense, but that is what they believe in. You don't seem to understand that, this is what is sticking in their head. It is not the other stuff, the earthly or the worldly stuff that you and I are bothered about. That is not what is sticking with them. That is where the problem
I
is.
have to ask you this: that you interrogated these terrorists. There's no other word for it. They are mass murderers. They want to kill and maim people who are lawmakers, general public. They want to create chaos in this country. You interview them, you interrogate them, you also meet with their family members. How is it that some politicians are saying that it is unethical to take family members in custody?
See, it's not a question of taking them into custody. They're basically examining them. It doesn't mean that you have to arrest them and then interrogate them. the law gives you the powers to examine. And that is what is basically being done. So you examine the family members, find out whether they are involved or not. If they are not involved, they are free to go. But if they are involved, then obviously the law will take its own course.
Or can they give you some information which otherwise
Their
you
cell
might be
phone
missing out on?
records and things
Yeah,
like that.
obviously. Everything is then...
Because now
under
it's
the
all
scanner.
electronic communication, right?
See, electronic
lot of it.
communication, even there is human communication, everything. It's not that, like, if you look at the left, the Maoists, they don't use any electronic communication.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, during my time also, we've arrested some of the... There is a lady called, I forget the name, Soren or something like that, we had arrested. So, all the communication of the Maoists are by mouth. It's person to person. No, they don't use any channels of communication.
So these educated terrorists
Sir,
who are
usko bhi
caught,
were you the person who arrested that guy, that Parsi fellow, very senior in the Maoist ranks?
No.
From Faridabad, I think. He was also arrested from Faridabad.
No, Faridabad doesn't come under jurisdiction, Delhi.
No, but
Yeah.
you're special cell, so special cell is special cell.
Used to be earlier.
So when you meet with these white collar terrorists, when you interrogate them, do you find them as hardened as the others?
See, I'll make a distinction now. When you interrogate criminals, I'm not talking about terrorism. I'm talking about real criminal like gang. I mean the low criminals, small time criminals, big time criminals. They're harder to crack.
Okay.
These people are not very hard to crack.
Why?
See, basically, I would say, they're not hardened criminals. You see, their minds have been, as Mr. Sareen put it, in their minds they want to do something for the sake of the community, of a larger cause or whatever it is. So when they are confronted, with all the evidence that we have available, then they break down. It doesn't take much time, to tell very frankly. Breaking down an ordinary criminal takes much more time than breaking down these people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have never had any issues.
But this Zawahiri and the others whom you're mentioning, they were doing recruiting, planning, plotting. वो खुद तो जाके suicide bomber नहीं बना. But this doctor who blew himself up in the Red Fort bombing, he's a doctor himself. But for a doctor to become a suicide bomber, it didn't shock you?
No, it didn't entirely shock me because, look, I study Pakistan and I've seen a lot of this happening in Pakistan. Although that has not happened so much by the Islamists, but for example, there have been cases where there have been Baloch freedom fighters, women who are PhD scholars, with kids who have decided because of the oppression of Pakistanis to go and blow themselves up. So there have been a number of cases like that out there. So it doesn't really surprise me that somebody like him, if he actually was a suicide bomber, I'm still holding out on that judgment. Was it a suicide bombing? Did he actually blow himself up?
Or just panicked?
Or he panicked, or some I won't call it an accidental explosion.
Unless he has left a phone message somewhere.
See,
do they do that? Do they give clues?
Normally they do. Especially the jihadist lot, they normally leave this last testament kind of a thing, and a kind of a will which is then given to their families. Happened mostly with the Pakistani
Because 3 hours he's sitting inside a car.
Yeah, so okay, so let's
imagine
we are making
I
a
think
movie.
He would have.
Let's imagine we are making a movie.
Yeah.
And I am making a movie on this particular plot. And I am an ace director and I say, so here is this guy who is now sees the world closing
on him,
right?
Yeah.
He has no option left. There is nothing, there's only darkness in front of him. Even if he wants to run away, where the hell will he run? The world is not big enough for him to run, right? There is nowhere, he's a rat who is caught in that rat trap. What does he do? Now, for 3 hours, he is getting agitated. He has been to a mosque, he has been to other places, and he realizes there's nothing left for him. Now, he is suddenly even trying to figure out what he needs to do. Now, in that state of mind, he might actually decide that he's going to blow up the car. Again, what do you mean by a suicide bomber? That means that the bomb was rigged in the car and he had to press a button to explode it.
But they haven't found a detonator as
So,
yet. Maybe there was one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm not prejudging that.
Correct.
If he has to blow up the... One is a suicide bomber who's wearing
With the
a suicide
vest.
jacket.
हाँ, वो
right?
तो नहीं था.
वो तो नहीं था. The other is that there was a bomb which was rigged in the car. Was a bomb actually rigged in the car? Which means that it was a car bomb which was all set to go off, and here is a guy who triggered it. That once they investigate, they'll be able to find out whether there was a triggering mechanism or something which did this. Otherwise, it could be something that you've kept that explosive in a way that now you're hearing something about Kashmir, you know, that some explosives were taken out there. In that
today,
police
this
station.
morning
we don't
it's happened,
know what exactly happened, whether that was, again, the reports are that it is an accidental blast, but I don't know. We'll wait for more information on that. But the point is that it could be just this guy trying to figure out a way and this thing suddenly blows up, or he blows it up. But for him, in his desperate state, to become a suicide bomber is one thing, and to become a suicide bomber who knows that he's going to a certain place and going to go and blow himself out there is a completely different thing.
तो mindset अलग होता है between a fidain and a suicide bomber, because I mean the definition they interchangeable हो जाता है.
जो डिप्रेशन वाले की सुसाइड होती है और जो सुसाइड बॉम्बर की सुसाइड होती है, उसमें फर्क होता है.
उसमें भी फर्क होता
है. तो ये में भी डिप्रेशन वाला सुसाइड बॉम्बर था.
That he saw the plot, he saw it all coming in.
See, because ammonium nitrate itself is not an explosive.
Yeah.
It has to be mixed with certain chemicals. Then you have
so maybe
to
it was the process of becoming a bomb.
Yeah, I mean you have to have a timer, and then you have to have a what you call charging. It has to be, I mean, sort of a current has to pass through the detonator for triggering mechanism and all that. So until that means he has an IED in his vehicle, or the vehicle itself was an IED. So one doesn't know.
So the 2000 blast, which those guys who ran away or scaled the wall, they were fidains because they were not suicide. They didn't want to die.
No.
They wanted to.
Fidain. See what happens. When you are attacking an what you call an army camp, so there may be retaliation and you may die. But the fact is, at that point of time, there was not that much of a retaliation because no one was expecting it. So that's why they could escape.
I mean, but they were ready to die.
So obviously, when you are attacking an army camp, logically you can be shot.
So theologically, suicide is haram for these guys. So they never call themselves suicide bombers. So sir, just as a word of caution, please don't call them fidain. They would love to be called fidain. They should be called suicide bomber or a suicide attacker. Because suicide is haram for them. So they are haramis, so call them suicide bombers. Right? Number one. Number two, the idea, the theology is that look, once you go into that army camp, as Mr. Chand is saying, and he's absolutely correct, there is maybe a 1% chance that you can get away with it. Right? You've assaulted and something has happened and so there is, he has gone with the intention that if I die, I die. But there is a possibility that I might even escape. Right? And there have been a number of cases where they managed to escape. So the term which they use for themselves, even the guys who go and blow up a particular place and where death is assured, there is a particular term, I think it's called ishtihadi or something like that. That's the term they use. They never call themselves as a khudkush bombar. That is a term which the others give to them. The term which they give to them, say either a fidain, right, which gives you a certain religious connotations to it, or it is this ishtihadi, or I'm forgetting the exact pronunciation. It's that. But I think because, like I said, they're committing something haram, they're haramis, so call them suicide bomber or suicide attacker.
Or haramis.
और haramis. But वो connotation उसका वैसे थोड़ा सा गड़बड़ हो जाता है. आप अखबार में तो नहीं लिख सकते ना कि he was a harami.
Tell me about Jama Masjid.
Jama Masjid, there was a bomb and there was a firing also. 2010 was done by the Indian Mujahideen. See, the Indian Mujahideen has a number of modules and they were spread over, I think, number of states. We name it Delhi, UP, Bihar, then Gujarat, then I think Karnataka. I mean, different states, they had the different
There was that
modules.
huge bombing which happened in Kerala also, that Indian Mujahideen.
So they were all over the, they had
Yeah.
modules in all over the, what you call, country. I
Hmm.
mean, all one number of states. So this 2010 blast that was done, that was done by Yasin Bhatkal. And his, his other associates. Yasin Bhatkal was basically, if you remember, the Indian Mujahideen is headed by Riyaz Bhatkal and Iqbal Bhatkal. Riyaz Bhatkal and Iqbal Bhatkal were basically from Karnataka, and then subsequently they were ex-SIMI, Student Islamic Movement of India. After that, after it was banned, then the members of the SIMI made, made this organization called Indian Mujahideen, which had the support of Lashkar. It was basically, had the support of Lashkar.
But not trained by Lashkar.
Not trained by Lashkar. They were all, local boys.
Huh.
All local boys who had been recruited. And see, making an ID nowadays is not a great thing.
But I remember that time these CDs were found with these Indian Mujahideen people where the training was
training.
there.
Basically it was not, you didn't go to a camp to get trained.
Correct.
But they were trained in the sense that you can learn from the CDs and all that. In fact, Simi had training camps. I remember still in Madhya Pradesh and all that, they had training camps. Badal Thas. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, he was the chief of Simi and all. The Simi had training camps. So when the Simi got became outlawed, then these people started Indian Mujahideen. And then these two guys, Riaz and Iqbal Bhatkal, they started this Indian Mujahideen, and they set up bases, modules everywhere. And subsequent to that, they did blasts all over the, around 7 to 8 states. They did number of blasts, and number of lives were lost. Large number of lives were lost.
But why did they attack, do you think, a Jama Masjid? If it was a Batla House thing, which anniversary of that? When
Jama Masjid was done basically to create threat, communal.
And blame India,
blame
Hindus.
Blame, the Hindu terrorists have done it and all that. Basically, that is what their intention that they had done.
Okay.
Yeah, and this Yasin Bhatkal he had married a local girl in Delhi only.
Okay.
Okhla or Jamia mein. And he was settled there. So when we busted this gang, that was called the Darbhanga module. We arrested a Pakistani also, and number of people from Darbhanga were arrested.
You went to Darbhanga?
No, I didn't go to Darbhanga. The teams were there.
Yeah,
and then subsequently, this module, after being busted, they again, after another some months, again some parts of the module had been left. They again committed some blasts. Then subsequently they were also arrested.
But you're talking about a time when Delhi was continuously facing these blasts. 2010, 2005. It was a period where Delhi was facing all these terror incidents which were happening. Tell me how is the mindset of the police at that stage when these blasts are happening? Do you feel overwhelmed? How is it?
No, we never felt overwhelmed, to tell you very frankly.
Time ही नहीं था
like even the Red Fort attack, Parliament attack, this blasts and all that. See, since we had been handling terrorism for quite some time, I was in the cell for more than 7.5 years. So we were sure that somewhere or the other they'll slip up. It's not that, they will be able to get away with it. And then what happens? It's like when an incident takes place, it leaves you some clues. It's not that it's totally blind. Some clues are left. And then we work on those clues. If you get overwhelmed, you lose it. And if I was heading the unit, and if I sort of gave it up, the team would have given up.
So tell me something. I want to ask you this question. Suppose like this Red Fort blast took place, and we suddenly see that around the world we see that people sanitize the area. Out here we see that it becomes a tourist spot. Journalists picking up pieces, showing it on camera. People walking in that area. Why is it? And this is not the first time a bomb blast has happened. we've been facing bomb
Yeah,
blasts
yeah.
throughout the country, like you yourself said. We don't have any SOPs. I even see cops. For example, outside India, you will see very standard operating procedures where when
Gloves.
they're collecting evidence, they're using gloves, they're being very careful. Uh, Out here, we see people picking up stuff with their hand. All kinds of things are happening. Is it a question of training, resources? What? I just trying to figure out why we do what we do.
See, SOPs are there. SOPs are there for this is a crime scene. How you secure the crime scene and how you pick up evidence. All the SOPs are there. But at that point of time, the person who is there at the spot or who is the senior officer at the spot, he has to ensure that the scene of crime is totally barricaded. And then subsequent to that, the investigation starts. But maybe it was such a crowded area and it was difficult to secure the scene of crime. And maybe the scene of crime was scattered over quite a large area. So, but I think subsequently it was done. Initially, initially what happens? The local police reaches. Then,
Isn't this training to be given to
To everybody, to the local police too.
what happened? Initially, local police reaches. So, first though, once an incident has taken place and if it is a bomb blast, you need to sanitize the area and then move in. But what happens is the local police reaches and then you are asked to tell the details and all that. क्या हुआ, कैसे हुआ, क्या हुआ. तो वो फिर थोड़ा सा इधर उधर
But sir, 3-4 घंटे तक, even when the forensics had not reached, and then subsequently we saw forensic guys also when they reached, we saw that they didn't have shoe covers on, and then somebody picks up something with the hand, gives it to another constable he's dressed like a constable. That guy looks at it like this and puts it in his pocket.
No.
These are all things which seem to us a little odd.
Yeah, definitely. It depends on, as I told you,
And then the media person.
That is
Taking and moving aside.
I can understand that, if there are casualties and you're trying to rescue them, that, of course, that is understandable.
Yes,
But tourist spot, making it a tourist spot where everybody is going around, okay, people can take whatever, camera shots they want to take, but going inside, spoiling that area, I don't know. I would have thought that it's like decades now that we've been combating this. It started in the 80s, if you remember.
80s, I know.
When these Khalistani scumbags used to blow bombs, transistor bombs and what have you.
Transistor bombs in the Govindpuri में पूरा इन्होंने transistor bombs किए थे, and then the Odeon cinema में भी blast हुए थे. That was also then Majestic Cinema in क्या कहते हैं आपके चांदनी चौक में there were blasts, Sadar Bazaar में there were blasts. Blasts have been taking place.
I'm going to come back to the mindset of these terrorists. How is a terrorist different from, basic question, how is a terrorist different from a militant, different from a mafia guy, from an ordinary criminal? What is the difference in these?
So as I told you, a terrorist is committed to its cause. Absolutely committed to its cause. Irrespective of whatever happens. There's not much of a difference between a terrorist and a militant. I at least don't make any distinction between a terrorist and a militant. They are more or less same. Now you come to the mafia. Mafia is not interested in creating chaos and terror. Mafia is interested in extortions. They are interested in money. उनको तो पैसा चाहिए. And that is why they act only because they want to create terror to extort money. They will not target any crowded places, or they will not target any, place of national importance. They might target anyone whom they want to extort money from.
But this Dawood and all that did it, no, in Bombay?
That was separate.
Because by then he had transformed from a mafia to a terrorist.
Okay.
That is different. See, in fact, there are criminal elements also who have joined terrorism. We have become terrorists. In fact, one of the, Indian Mujahideen, the Darbhanga module that he had busted, the leader was a criminal. Qatil Siddiqui bol ke tha, and he was a criminal. But he got involved in this, terror activities. I felt that his motivation was not religion but
There is
money.
mercenaries sometimes.
Yeah, it
his motivation was not religion. His motivation was money.
It was the same with this guy. You remember one of there were three people who were released in Kandahar. One was this scumbag Masood Azhar. The other was this Umar Saeed Sheikh. And the third guy was a Kashmiri fellow by the name of Mushtaq Latram. Latram was his nom de guerre or nom de plume or whatever you want to call it. He was basically a local thug. Who then took to terrorism.
But he was very hardened. We interviewed SP Ved in the scene.
But
he interrogated Latram.
Yeah, but Latram later on became a terrorist.
Yeah.
He started off as a criminal, later on became a terrorist. And that was his revenue model. So at the end of it, he retained the name of, he was always referred to as Latram.
Latram, yeah.
Right? So that transformation very often happens between these criminals, can transcend into terrorism. Sometimes it's for ideological reasons, sometimes because it's a nice veneer which you take on. You get some respectability and you make lots of money.
Okay.
It happened a lot during the Khalistani movement. A lot of these characters, they were criminals basically. Even today.
You saw that era also.
Yeah, I mean...
Overlap hua tha aapka.
Yeah, it was overlapping, but...
in the 80s?
Yeah, in the 80s. I mean, at that time I was not in the anti-terror unit. I was basically in the field duties.
Okay.
Yeah, but we saw, I mean, what do you call... Khalistani activities also. In fact, I must tell you this, they were involved in two major incidents. One was the kidnapping of Livio Radu, the Romanian diplomat. I mean, and the other was the kidnapping of from New Friends colony, they were the industrialists. There were major incidents in Delhi and they were kidnapped and taken and subsequently released after payment of ransom money. So we had seen that era also, Khalistani movement, and the blasts hote the, Satyam Cinema and all that were done by Khalistani terrorists. I have seen the era of Khalistani terrorists, I have seen the era of Kashmiri militants, I have seen the era of what you call
now this
Indian Mujahideen, I have seen the era of, and see during our period, I mean the major action that was done, the suicidal attacks were done by the Pakistanis. I mean, there was a lot of infiltration of Pakistan. That was the height of terrorism. When we fought terrorism, it was at its height.
Okay.
And I must, compliment the intelligence agencies and all the organizations that were fighting terrorism at that point of time. That time we didn't have NIA or anything. It was the state, police organizations having their own separate specialized units for handling terrorism.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, one thing which is you feel is that everybody has to be now sensitized towards this. What has happened now is making everybody aware that they are amongst us. That people like us, it's not restricted to conflict zones somewhere in the northeast, somewhere in Kashmir. They are spread out in or somewhere in Kerala or Karnataka or Naxal area within. They're not in hinterland or Mofussil India. They're amongst
stereotypes are
everybody.
Dead.
Stereotypes are dead. So now they're amongst us. One way is that we all educate ourselves as to what are the warning signals. Keep our antenna up. If we are seeing amongst us somebody is getting, radicalized in some manner, which we now know as radicalization. They are becoming quieter. They are becoming more spiritual, to say. Watch out for these signals. How does one educate oneself to see the warning signals?
See, basically, if you educate the public, you have to educate the police also at the same time. Whoever is coming to the police station, he'll come to the local police station. He should have that confidence in the local police that, look, if I tell something, it will be kept secret. It's not that you go and tell the other person against whom I have told that, look, isi ne aake mere ko kaha tha. So that sort of sensitization has to be done. And that it has to be done at at the top level. See, all the instructions have to come from the top level. So if that is done, and then we have education of the public, maybe we might get information from the public. But sensitization of both are important.
That 2006 Mumbai blast, all 12 accused were released. From after so many years, they've all come out.
I'll come to that.
Was the case
No,
weak?
please,
What
I'd love to
happened?
hear you because
See, I'll come to that. What happens basically is like blasts. I'm not talking about direct attacks and all that. I'm talking about blasts. See, it is very difficult to collect evidence linking the perpetrator with the blast. I'll tell you the reason why. He comes, anyone, I'm saying, plants the, IED or whatever it is, and then slips away. Blast takes place. If you have a sort of a CCTV there, they're captured, and our CCTVs, it's all grainy pictures. I mean, it's difficult to recognize. So, even if you have a CCTV, most of the places you don't have CCTVs. If you have a CCTV, that if the picture comes, then only you have some sort of evidence linking the perpetrator with the crime. Otherwise, the court demands to prove that this person A was there at the spot at the time when the blast took place. It's very difficult. You can do the statistics. I was telling you very plainly. In most of the blast cases,
They come out, yeah.
they are released only because of this. Because it is very difficult. See, I arrest a terrorist. He says I have committed blasts in these places. That is only a disclosure statement. It has to be substantiated by
evidence,
concrete evidence. So
Sushant,
it is very difficult. It is easy.
यही बोल रहे हैं ना कि अभी ये blast हुआ है. Now this whole doctor network has come out. Everybody is saying 10 years from now these guys will come out.
So
This, what happens basically, this doctor network that has been blasted, they will be held liable for the recovery of the explosives, arms and ammunition.
That act.
I mean this doctor
वो तो
network.
मतलब clearly पकड़े गए ना.
हाँ, जहाँ पर जो पकड़े गए हैं, for the arms and ammunition.
But not the blast.
Blast, it will be difficult. I mean, there may be a disclosure. They may say that we also knew about the
But
blast,
how
we
did
knew
you?
about this.
Unless
and all
there's
that.
electronic evidence or
Some evidence, some eyewitness. I mean, that who says that, look, I've seen this guy here at the spot, and yeah, I was also there at the spot, and then he left this IED and went.
Or
and
if they have
after-
some plans, paper plans, or that they were
Paper
planning
plans
to.
are also not, I mean, they are all what you call corroborative evidence.
Okay.
I mean, it corroborates the fact that he has told something. But the
Jain
fact
वाला
is,
diary यार.
Huh.
but
Jain वाला diary
Was paper,
was paper.
but they all got acquitted.
They all got
the fact
acquitted because
whether he was there or not, how do you prove? I can make something on paper. It's on paper, no? But I may have executed it or not.
If this lady, this Lucknow lady, doctor, if she has a plan that Babri Masjid के anniversary पे हमने जाके
ऐसे
बिरला
थोड़ी-
मंदिर
नहीं
पे
ऐसा थोड़ी होता है कि कोई
See, I'll tell you,
affidavit थोड़ी
I'll
दे
just
रही
put
है.
it-
हाँ, सबके पास डायरी होती है यार.
नहीं, नहीं,
सुशांत.
ऐसे
Yeah, I'll
नहीं
just tell you one more thing.
But you
See,
want-
under the UAPA, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act,
हाँ.
a statement made in front of
Shaheen Saeed.
Shaheen Saeed.
a
हाँ.
statement made in front of a statement recorded by a deputy commissioner of police or a superintendent of police is evidence in court. But the question is whether the courts accept that evidence or not. Otherwise, we have in the PMLA, Money Laundering Act, there is in UAPA also. But it depends on the court whether he accepts that what he has told the police officer is
अभी आ
correct,
जाएगा
he or
ना?
she.
There are
Human
correct or
rights
not.
organizations will
there-
come up
and,
with the rights of these.
There are two issues. Mr. Chand talks about CCTV cameras. Let's take the case of, which to my mind is a very clear case of terrorism, the Udaipur beheading case.
हाँ.
Right? The guys were on CCTV. Their mugshots are captured. They have been, they've at least been given bail or something.
Yeah, they're
right?
out on bail. Yeah.
Why? That's a miscarriage. That's a very clear miscarriage of justice. And somebody should be asking the judges or the local cops. Either the cops did not, because we are looking at only the headlines that they've been given bail. Maybe the local cops didn't make the case properly. I don't know.
Maybe,
it is
I mean,
entirely possible.
yeah, entirely possible.
So there is a case to be made for the local cops when they are making the case. I don't know, sir, whether you do have the prosecutors.
Yes.
Huh?
That process is there.
That
It has
process, okay. So that is one.
It goes through judicial, scrutiny, legal scrutiny.
No, but that is when you're filing the case.
But
when you're
during the
collecting-
investigation, you have prosecutors helping you in major cases, not in all cases.
Yeah, but
this is a major.
This will be
These
a
are the
major.
major-
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it
this
should
is
have
one.
been. It should have been
this,
there.
This will be one
Definitely,
thing. The second problem is that it's very easy, and sometimes it's probably correct to blame the judges. But look, if you are a judge, you have to rule. Sometimes it's bias of the judges which enters the thing. Sometimes it is influencing the judiciary, either through bribes or through threats. We know that has also happened.
And media trials जो कहते हैं.
And media trials. Okay, that has also happened. But let us assume that none of those factors are operating. A judge is sitting without any influence on him, and he is looking at a case, right? He has to rule on the basis of the law.
Yeah.
Now, if, as Mr. Chand is saying, if the law does not provide for certain things, how can the judge say, yaar, just because Mr. Chand is saying that Smita Prakash was there, she is responsible for a bomb blast, does not make you responsible for a bomb blast, right? What is the other evidence which nails her involvement in this bomb blast? That is where the problem starts coming in. Now, maybe I'm being presumptuous. He has more experience. He's been there, done that. Maybe there needs to be, and beyond simply making a statement before a police officer or a judge, magistrate. Maybe a magistrate still all right, but usse bhi mukar sakte ho. You can turn hostile despite having made a statement to the magistrate.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's not perjury then?
But
no. You see,
have you know of anybody who's been booked for perjury in this country?
In this country,
Yeah.
that's also.
See, basically, what they do is basically, I'll just interrupt. They say it is coercion.
Okay.
Although there are rules are there that they should be kept separately and all that, but they say it's coercion. And so what you need is, apart from a statement in front of a police officer, and subsequently it is accepted by the judge at that point of time, is corroborative evidence, other evidence.
Yeah.
Judge asks, obviously the legal...
So maybe there is a case to be made, and this is where certain imaginativeness needs to come in the law. Of what constitutes corroborative evidence. Right? It cannot be just a statement.
Okay.
I don't know how practical and feasible it is, but maybe there could be certain other things which you can come up with on what might constitute corroborative evidence in a particular case like this. So, in this particular case, the fact that these guys, and in many cases, sir, conspiracy में भी यही problem होती है.
Conspiracy में तो it's very difficult to
The
prove
same
a conspiracy.
problem.
It failed. A trial court upheld our parliament attack. He convicted all of them. But in the high court, regarding Gilani, I will just say, we could link him with the mobile calls at that point of time. That the time when the incident was took place, Afzal was in contact with Gilani. But Gilani was not at the spot. But High Court was, clear that, look, just having this, this evidence on record, mobile evidence is not enough to convict him.
But sir, tell me something. At that point of time, maybe today, that kind of evidence might still be upheld in the court. But back then, when the parliament attack happened, it wasn't going to, there was no provision in law to accept that. So while you had nailed the guy, and which is my beef with most of these third-rate bloody human rightists, these so-called activists, most of them are terrorists, the overground phase of the underground. These people, they started giving these glowing certificates to this bastard Gilani. Right? He is an innocent fellow, has been nailed by the police, etc., etc. He got away on a technicality. He was hand in glove in that entire plot. And in many cases, people who get released after 10, 12, 14 years in jail, they are not picked up simply because, Mr. Ashok Chand ko ji shock chada tha, kisi ko utha ke jail mein dal do. Not because of that.
They
Sorry.
are part of the plot, but then evidence ki wajah se.
Before the parliament attack, we didn't know who was Gilani or who was Muhammad Afzal, who was Shaukat. I mean, none of us.
And they all
knew
come
the-
out pretending that they
Yeah.
are, very innocent lambs in the wood who have been done
And this is
down
going to
by
happen
these.
in this case
Always,
also, probably.
In
In
fact,
it
but,
has already
in
started,
the Parliament
hasn't it?
attack, when we went on appeal to the Supreme Court, although didn't overturn the High Court judgment, but remarked that the needle of suspicion also points towards
Gilani.
I mean, that was an indication that
But
look, you are not above.
But you
board.
got away on a technicality, right?
Yeah.
So maybe in the law, people need to rethink the law a little bit and see what other things can constitute to be corroborative evidence which will be upheld by the courts.
Okay, final question. Sushant, I'll begin with you. Now, this has been now established that it's a act of terror and needle of suspicion, Pakistan, right? Do you see Operation Sindoor in some way happening? Or do you think that India is going to have an asymmetrical reaction to Pakistan, or do you see attack again? What do you think happening? Difficult.
Very difficult to say. Let's wait and see. I think part of the problem is that there are expectations that every attack. See, again, people did not understand what the Prime Minister was saying. I think when he says that every attack will be seen as an act of war, it was in a sense a political statement, but it was a statement of policy. But that policy was not very well defined. Now, an act of terrorism, say by a Maoist, is not you're not going to go and attack the Pakistanis for it, right? If supposing something happens in Manipur because there is some Myanmar militant group involved,
don't attack. Got
if
that.
there is a Bangladeshi terrorist who comes in, you're not going to go after Pakistan. So, partly it's become a political football, this statement. But I think purely in terms of intent of the state of India to take the war into, Pakistan, I think that is an unexceptional policy. I completely agree with it. The question is, when do you operationalize it? Because look, you are then talking about, it's not the same thing as Israel going against some of the other countries around it. We keep talking about Israel, but look at the fact that the overwhelming superiority that Israel has.
Yeah, the countries around
There's
don't
no
have the
comparison,
yeah, sure.
right? So we have to be very, very careful about the environment in VR.
Yeah.
Which means that there will be certain things on which you will take the war out there, and there'll be other things in which you will probably retaliate in a different way. So I would imagine it will be a combination of measures if indeed the Pakistani hand is very clearly established. I think the one good thing which the government did this time, they did not, again, this is a tricky thing, that they did not jump to the conclusion and immediately point a finger.
No, yeah.
Right? The problem with that is that if you don't have some kind of a automatic tripwire, then you are back into that now 10 days, 15 days, then the pressure will go
Also,
off. You don't need to
Islamabad mein
act.
blast ho gaya simultaneously,
But
and
that
everybody
is
was
their
like,
problem. That is not my problem, right?
Yeah, but they immediately blamed India for it.
No, they can go to hell. They can't do shit all about it. But the fact of the matter is that, so there is this dilemma. Do you have a tripwire or do you have a deliberated kind of a retaliation? And when you have a deliberated retaliation, then, maybe 15 days later, when the hand is finally established, if at all it is, things have moved on. Okay, so there is that problem. The second issue is going to be that what about the involvement? Because again, these are reports still to be confirmed. Other countries. The Pakistanis have been known that they will certainly sponsor terrorism into India, but try and hide behind certain veneers. So now Turkey is one of their favorite destinations from where they plot. The Turks can deny till they go blue in the face. It has absolutely holds no water, their denials. They are third-rate people who have been involved with Pakistani terror groups. They have been involved in indoctrination. They have been involved in disinformation and misinformation campaigns. There's an entire industry based in Turkey, and there are a whole lot of Kashmiris who are seduced to go to Turkey where they are indoctrinated. Okay? And it's not happening recently. It's been happening for over a decade now.
Also, this thing of doctors from Kashmir who have gone to study medicine in Dhaka.
No, but see, again.
Why are they going to Dhaka?
No, because they're not getting admission in India.
There are,
Why do they go to Ukraine, yaar? Why would anybody go to Ukraine?
I would still say Ukraine jao. Ab Dhaka maybe
They
you
go
know
to
that,
Moldova.
but shouldn't they be under some kind of ki pata karo, because you know Pakistanis are now landing up in Dhaka.
Listen, give me a break. Dhaka for 15 years was a safe area.
Yes.
One second. But do you know something even more ridiculous? We have allowed Kashmiri students to go and study in Pakistan. Can you believe this? This is government of India. The suicidal nature in government of India sometimes, because it wants to do virtue signaling, is astounding. It was only, I think, maybe around last 3-4 years back where they cracked down on it and they said, we will not recognize any degree coming from Pakistan, not even if you take an exam. Number one. Number two, they stopped, allowing these people to go out there. But until then, there are still students from Kashmir who are studying in Pakistani universities. Can you believe this? So forget Bangladesh. Pakistan, which is an avowed enemy, declared enemy state, which leaves no stone unturned to hurt us, damage us, kill our people. We allow our citizens to go to Pakistan to study.
So
Can anything be more brainless?
You've interrogated so many of these terrorists. Do they see Pakistan as Dushman Mulk or not?
Who?
These terrorists, do they ever?
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not, because all the funding comes from there.
Funding to theek hai na, funding to kahin se bhi aa
No,
sakta
they
hai.
know.
They don't see as Dushman.
They see it as their ally. Definitely not. They never see. But I would just add on to it. Since the change of regime in Bangladesh, so Bangladesh will now become the hotbed of indoctrinating Indians in.
So earlier, what you would have seen, Huji and the others who used to come in from there, SIM cards have come in.
Everything.
And things. So now you're saying that network is going to again get.
Yeah, it's going to get activated.
Activated.
Bangladesh, the border is very porous. Very, very porous.
Yeah,
border.
we can't. Yeah.
It's very difficult to police that border.
Correct.
And there's a lot of infiltration also. So that has to be taken care of. And apart from that, we have a lot of Bangladeshis living here.
There are problems in that area.
Yeah, and apart from that, we have Bangladeshis all over the country living here.
Yeah.
So that aspect has to be now taken care of by the agencies, central agencies.
Okay. Big challenges towards the country. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing the time. Thank you, Sushant, always for coming and explaining things to us. Thank you. Thank you for watching or listening to this edition of the NR podcast with Smita Prakash. Do like or subscribe on whichever channel you have seen this or heard this. Namaste. Jai Hind. This episode is powered by easemytrip.com. Click here to watch the previous episodes.